My first business was selling tea. So my first name's MayKing. Business name's MayKing Tea. Get it? Making tea.
Fantastic. Welcome back, everyone, and welcome back, MayKing, to our, was it fourth episode?
Fourth
Wow.
episode!
I know. So quick, who thought we'd be podcasters? Anyway, I'm sure you've done podcasts before, haven't you? But I haven't really done that. And we said we would focus a lot more on our future podcast rather than just ramble talking, which is sometimes good for us, but not necessarily good for everybody else. But yeah. So the topic we're going to talk about is building relationships in business. And I guess, people might think we are prolific networkers. I know people say, "Oh, Gordon, you're everywhere all the time," and I try to be I try to support many events around the place, but I can't be everywhere. I'm sure we never started like that. We were always like, "Oh no." Like everybody else, I don't like small talk. How am I going to get myself started, kind of thing? So I think it's useful for us to share our experiences and how we kind of got through those early, painful, awkward days to get to where we are. Where I still can feel awkward. It depends on the scenario. If you go to somewhere brand new, for me, it can be tough. And I'll share something about Atomic later on, which you might find surprising. But if we start at how did you feel when you started to step out for your business to be seen and represented and try and build those connections?
I was very lucky because when I first went into business, my first business was selling tea. So my first name's MayKing. Business name's MayKing Tea. Get it? Making tea.
Fantastic.
And when I went into business, a friend of mine who knew me from my IT world, because I had a career in IT, she was also starting out, but she was a few months ahead of me. So she actually said to me, "You've got to go to networking events. Come along with me." So I basically got shown the ropes, which is amazing. And because I've always, maybe it's because of our upbringing where children should be seen and not be heard. I don't know. But I've always been a good listener. And so the most incredible conversations I've had are the ones where I haven't said a word. And so I didn't realize I was a good networker until I actually read this book, which I've talked about in the last episode,
Okay.
How to Influence Friends and Influence People.
That looks well used
So
and beaten up, that book.
yeah, this is the original book that I had from 2009. Yeah, it's stayed with me in London, where I started my business, then went to Australia for 6 years, and then came back to the UK in 2016. So it stayed with me all those years. So yeah, Katrina, a big shout out to Katrina. She showed me the ropes on how to network. And when you start a business, you go to all the networking events, you go to courses to learn about how to run business and things like that. And so when I read How to Influence and Influence People, I realized, oh wow, I was a networker before I was a great networker in my career, and I didn't realize I was. So I think from episode 1, I think we talked about having introvert or extrovert moments, and you taught me a new word. What was it?
Ultravert.
Or ultravert, that's right, yes. So I am an ambivert, so I sometimes have introvert moments, sometimes extrovert moments. So depending on the kind of person that I am when I go to networking events, I either, as an extrovert, I will look for the wallflower and I'll go and talk to them, because I will make a huge impression on that person, and they'll feel relieved that someone's actually talked to them. Where they're
Mm.
looking at a phone, hoping that they can,
Yeah.
hoping that someone will talk to them. They're really scared. They know they need to go networking, but they don't really know how to, approach somebody. So when I'm like an extrovert, then I'll go and talk to them. But when I'm when I have an introvert moment, I'm the one looking at my phone, hoping someone
Yeah.
will talk to me. But yeah, going to a networking event, talking to someone, and we're all in the same boat, aren't we, Gordon? At the
Mm.
networking event, we're all trying to get to know each other. So I know it can be really scary for people approaching another person, but we're all in there together. We don't bite, hopefully.
Mm.
And so it is okay to go to someone and talk to them. Or if there is a circle of people who are talking, it's okay for you to sort of move in towards that circle and start listening in. And then when the moment is right, then maybe you can go in and introduce yourself and add to the conversation. But the conversations are not about hey, what is it that you do? How, and that kind of thing. It is literally about trying to get to know people as people.
Mm.
Small talk can be a bit banal, but it helps us to begin with,
Yeah.
doesn't it? How did
Yeah.
you get here? How's the traffic? We have to do that sometimes, just to sort of
Yeah.
get in. How do you know the host? Have you been to this networking event before?
Mm.
That kind of thing, and having conversations like that. Um, I was very lucky. Katrina helped me to get started, but it turned out that being a good listener really, really helps, and you can ask really great questions in order to find out about the person that you're talking to. But also, if you can, impart your information as well, if it's applicable.
Yeah. That's great. Great points that you raised there. Yeah, small talk is awkward, and I think if you can pick up on somebody else who's been awkward with their small talk, if you're further down the line, please do help them out. It just means the world, really, if you're kind of
Yeah.
trapped in that kind of awkward situation. For me, when I started business or was a co-founder in business that we started in year 2000, I was the technical director, so I was the geek at the back, creating infrastructure, doing technical support. That was my bag. There was somebody else who was the sales director, and they were the people out selling, doing the conferences and exhibitions, etc. They were leading that kind of the front of the business, the face of the business. But then when that person kind of left within the first couple of years, I became the kind of accidental MD. I had to be the one that was responsible, but I never got to the front. We kind of hired other people who then did the sales, but I never really stood out and represented the business. Even though we became sponsors of certain events, and you get to keynote or you get to introduce the plenary session and talk on behalf of the business. It just that was way beyond me. I could never really stand up and be seen and talk and have everybody looking at me. I just couldn't do it. But it was only after about about 15 years in business, I thought, this isn't right. We need to, grow as a business. We need to do more business locally and so on. So I needed to get out. My kind of benchmark was all these photographs of networking events at the back of the local Echo or the Dorset Chamber of Commerce magazines.
Yeah.
You see a
Yeah.
picture of people standing together with a glass of wine or whatever. I thought
Yes.
I need to get myself into one of those photographs,
Amazing.
and I started going to some of the Dorset Chambers of Commerce events. And for me, it was a case of you kind of turn up, and for me, I just kind of just I was there. I didn't make it an aim to interact too much, but I just you know show up. And it's important to show up and to show up regularly. So I went to one and another one,
Yes.
and then I
Yes.
felt more comfortable. I saw the same faces, and then it's easier to kind of approach those people because they kind of recognize you. And it's easy to recognize us because we were one of the few, if not the only, Chinese face in our networking group. So
Yeah.
that really, that kind of slow approach was, at my pace was
Yeah.
was how I kind of got to get my first photograph with somebody in
Yay.
the back of the magazine, which I thought, yeah, job done, job done. But I think it's important to to try a few different networking events, a few different events. They don't have to be networking. Sometimes there can be, there's a topic that's being discussed that you're interested in. So I think it's important to show up and show up regularly. Maybe speak to the organizer, just say hi, thank you for the event. I really enjoyed it. And if that's the level of your interaction for that day, that's fine. Just leave. But organizers will always recognize people who turn up regularly because it's a thankless task being an organizer at times. And the people who are your supporters in the crowd are of great value to them. So, they'll come to you next time, maybe, and welcome you in. And then once you get that confidence, you can then start talking to people. And yeah, the small chat, but sometimes you talk around the topic that's being discussed. Maybe it's the venue, and then yeah, and somebody will invariably ask you what you do or what's your business, and then you can kind of practice that. And I would say, don't get hung up on this elevator pitch. I used to think about that a lot. I was like, oh, I can't be bothered, especially when within our kind of business group, there's, like I said, there's kind of, we've got digital service company, we've got hosting company, we've got consultancy and law enforcement, national security, defense. It's like, oh, I'm not going to, I just can't be bothered to explain all that in 3 minutes. I'll just say, oh, we're in IT, we have our own data center. And actually, you don't want to expend that energy unless somebody's willing to listen.
Yeah.
And that's where that relationship comes through. Over time, you'll find the people that you get on really well. You can kind of hone your skills in with them, and then you can expend your energy with them
Yeah.
as you go. But I think it's turn up, be seen, be supportive of the event organizers and other people. And if you've heard a discussion, then you could post on social media, tag them, and just say, you know, this was a really important point, or this was a really good point. Then over time, through the people that you interact, maybe tag and respond to, you'll have that kind of online connection that can translate to when you actually meet up in person. But for me, it's a slow build up. But
Yeah.
also sometimes you find an event that you kind of click with immediately, and for me, that's the UR Media events down in Poole, in London, Bristol, and they're going to start up in Manchester now. And it's that kind
Oh,
of,
really?
yeah, similar people, small businesses, solopreneurs, freelancers, but people who kind of maybe not used to getting out there. Some people, want or value that kind of connection, and they just want to be away from the desk. So within those environments, it's very easy to talk to people because everybody just wants to talk to the people because it's tough being working by yourself or running a business. And I think once you find that group and you turn up, and then you can start putting back in, and maybe at one point you can start talking at the front and sharing your experiences to the rest of the group. So I think there are different paths, but go at your pace. That's the most important thing. Don't feel you have to be some kind of Gary V energy into the room. You can just be the person that's slow, quiet. But if you're consistently there, that stands for a lot. That stands for a lot.
Yeah, I love the word that you're using a lot is energy, and I love that because I forget that we're all we all have a finite amount of energy. It gets replenished when we go to sleep. Hopefully, if we get the full 6 to 8 hours sleep. Um, and depending on who turns up on the day, introvert, ambivert, extrovert, ultravert, whoever turns up determines how much energy you need to spend in
Mm,
at the event, networking event. And I remember actually going to an event in London. So I started my business making tea in London for a year before I moved to Australia, and I remember getting to know this lady, and she said she'd just done the networking event and we were just finishing up our conversation. And she said, "Oh, that's me done for the day." Because I asked her what
mm,
she was up to
mm.
next. And she said, "Oh, that's me done for the day. I've finished networking. I've got to go home. I've got to replenish." And I thought, wow, I've got another two networking events to go to, but different people have different energies and,
Yeah.
and so because I was just starting out in business, I had to try all the different networking events
Mm. Yeah.
before deciding which ones I want to go to. So, so the lady I spoke to was obviously a seasoned networker, and she knows which events she wants to go to, and so she doesn't have to go to two or three. She just needs to go to the one that we went to at the time. So, when I moved to Australia, didn't know a single person. So what I actually did there
Mm.
was because Twitter was was
Mm.
huge then in 2010. So I tweeted, I said, "Oh, hey, I'm going to be in Sydney for 24 hours. Then I'm going to be in Brisbane. No, sorry, I'm going to be in Sydney for a week." And then I'm going to be in Brisbane for the foreseeable future. Who fancies
Mm.
meeting up? And because I built relationships with people on Twitter, people were recommending places for me to go and so on. And so literally, I arrived in Sydney. We were fortunate that the hotel would allow us to go to our hotel room. So I literally had after a 24-hour flight, I had a quick shower. Then I went
Yeah.
networking, and I was jet lagged to the hilt, but I felt like I really needed to do it. Get into it. And so actually, for the week in Sydney, I went to three networking events in the end. And one of them recommended me to go and speak to someone in Brisbane. So the following week, then I was able to build relationships there. So did the Chamber of Commerce, did the BNIs to begin with.
Mm.
You've got to start somewhere, and then there will be recommendations for other networking events to go to. And so that's what I did. And then when I stayed in Australia for 6 years, had to move back because immigration didn't want me there. Boo. So in 2016, had to rebuild my relationships again, because I've been away from the country. And of course, my first year of business was in London. And in 2016,
Mm.
I moved to Sheffield to be closer to my parents and my brother and sister. So I had to start the networking thing again. What was crazy was that there was one lady who'd moved from London to Sheffield, and she remembered me from 7 years back.
All right.
Now that is incredible, you
Mm.
know. So I'd made such an impression on her that she
Yeah.
remembered, and so we sort of caught up. And so yeah, I had to go through the same process again. 2016, went to Chamber of Commerce, BNI's. Then I got recommended to a few places, and I also wrote as well. I wrote a lot of blog posts.
Mm.
On LinkedIn, on Twitter, and my WordPress site. It was a free WordPress site because I was starting my business from scratch. And then within 3 months, I got picked up by Google and I got my first contract. So I worked for with Google for a year. That's pretty awesome. But that was because of building relationships, going
Oh, wow.
networking, and also writing on social media as well. Um, so yeah, did it 3 times. Same procedure, going to BNI, going to Chamber of Commerce, and then finding the other groups, and then deciding on which ones I want to go to. Just like yourself,
Mm.
you're very comfortable with You Are the Media. I've heard great things about You Are the Media. Haven't had the opportunity to go as yet. Been wanting to go for years. And very excited that they're coming to Manchester. I'll definitely be popping over if when they do come. That'll
Yeah.
be amazing.
Excellent. Going back to like the very easy hack. Uh, is it a hack? When you go to an event and the organizer posts on whatever platform, LinkedIn, whatever platform they have, and they kind of share what's happened, one of the easiest things to do is to kind of drop a comment to say, thank you, it was a great event. What that does is that shows your name connected with that event, that organizer. Because other people
Yes,
who've been to the event that you won't have bumped into will probably see that organizer's post,
yes,
then they'll see your name. But if they see that your name consistently, then next time it's as if they know you or partly know you because they've seen your photograph, they've seen your name, and hopefully they'll go, "Oh yeah, you're such and such." Actually, it's a common It was yeah, a funny thing around Bournemouth. People would say, "Oh, are you Gordon Fong?" That would be like a it's just people approaching me, whether it's like down on the beach or at business events. They say, "Oh, are you Gordon Fong?" Because they've seen my name across social media. But yeah,
Amazing.
you have to kind of work at it or be mindful of actually giving them support. Don't be frivolous with it, but say something positive. Share something that you found useful at the event. But if you keep on turning up in other event organizers, LinkedIn posts or whatever, then people will see your name above everybody else because a lot of people won't do it. But if you're the one
Yeah,
who's brave enough just to post a comment, then your name will turn up time and time again. And then when you turn up time and time again in person, then that actually helps break down that barriers and then build that relationship.
definitely. And I actually teach this in my shameless plug alert, my FOMO Creator Power Hour surprise. Surprise because you get 90 minutes of me, not 60 minutes, where I actually go through how you can get the best out of networking.
Hmm,
But I'll give a little tip now. Um, FOMO means a fear of missing out, and you
hmm,
can generate that buzz and excitement for yourself as a person and as a business in three different ways: before the event, at the event, and after the
hmm,
event. So I call this pre FOMO, live FOMO, and post FOMO. So, what a lot of great networking events do and big shout out to James Brody from Boz. They do incredible stuff. So if you ever get to go to a Boz, definitely go.
hmm,
They will put up, there's different branches up and down the country, and the organizer, if they're great at pre FOMO, they will put up a post and say, looking forward to going to the next buzz, which is on this
hmm,
particular date, la, la, la. Who's coming? And then this is a great way to promote your event. It's a subtle way of promoting your event. Hopefully, regulars will say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. Can't wait." La
hmm,
la la, and all the rest of it. And then live FOMO is, at the event itself. So just after, after you've had the great conversations and so on, a lot of people will be savvy enough to take a quick snap, maybe a selfie or maybe a picture of everybody, like you said, Gordon. And this is the live FOMO bit. It's not exactly
hmm,
live, but it's just a few minutes, a few moments after. Uh, and a lot of people will put up that photograph and say just had a great networking event with
hmm,
and tag lots of people in, and this is your opportunity to shine, adding a comment, sharing, and being consistent with that, like he said, um Gordon. And then post FOMO is a period after. If you run these events monthly, then you've got another 2 3 weeks to go, so you can do a in case you missed it, we had a great
hmm,
event last week. And again, share that photograph again and tag the people again, because no one in reality is looking at your profile 24/7 and they'll not see all of your posts. So it's
hmm.
okay to talk about the same event 3 times, you know, um, or hire myself to create that content for you.
Yeah.
Shameless plug alert.
Yeah. That's one of the things, excuse me, that I forget to do, kind of repurpose all the content or reshare something that maybe it's happened a year ago, and you can say, "Oh, last year we did this," or
Yeah.
this is a point, something that's happened to me recently, and then we kind of share that. There's a phrase, or is it an acronym? Joe G, that goes adjacent to FOMO, which is the joy of joining in. Sometimes we have to be
Oh.
mindful enough to think we've booked the time off. It's cost us money for the ticket, cost money for travel and the hotel. Let's just enjoy it. Let's just enjoy
Mm,
who's on stage, the people around us, all of the effort the event organizer has put in. Yeah, it may be
mm,
that thing where afterwards you need to crash and just spend all my energy. But I think sometimes you have to be, take that mindfulness means, what's happening now and just enjoy it and just think, actually, I've taken my time, I've stepped forward, I've gone to a different, traveled to a different place or whatever. I'm
mm.
just going to enjoy it and just think, oh wow, look at all of these people having a good time. I need to feed off their energy. Sometimes it's difficult, and yeah, I'll share something to the rest of the world. I've been going to the Atomic conferences for maybe it's about maybe it's 4 years on the trot. Actually, there was one virtual one, wasn't there? And I'm
Yes.
not going this year. Um, Partly because I'll use that money to go to a different event. Maybe I'm trying to search out certain speakers and so on. But even though down here in Bournemouth, around Dorset Way and so on, and around you, the media, I can turn up, I can feel so comfortable, and people come up to talk to me, or I talk to them, and I find it very easy, and it comes kind of naturally. But every time I've been to Atomic, I love the event, the energy, the buzz, everything that goes on. But I just haven't been able to get over the line myself in terms of my own confidence in interacting with everybody. It's huge.
Mm,
And I know this thing where actually I don't know what the split between men and women are, but I think there's a lot more women than men. I think I don't know if you feel that's true.
mm,
And there's a lot of energy in the room. There's a lot of groups of women around interacting, and I recognise some of the. It's not like they've known each other for so long that sometimes it's the first time they've met them, and I recognise that even down in uni media, but I've felt it hard to get in. The thing you said where when there's a group of people, just go to the side, and sometimes you draw yourselves in. But I thought, and it's a me thing. I've always felt awkward when there's a group of women, and I think, oh, I'm going to try and join in the conversation because I think am I just coming across creepy? And I know I'm not. I know other women have said, Gordon, don't be like that. Don't be like that. But obviously, it's something innate in me. I have this hashtag Me Too and everything else that's gone beyond for me to kind of creep in as a man and just go, oh, hi. No, and I have found it hard. And maybe I'll just give it a break for one year and then for 1 year and then come back. But, I think the first year I tagged on to somebody who I knew from you in the media. Then the
yeah.
second year, there was a couple of people I kind of t met, talked to, Shelley and Imogen and Mark from um, who also come to you in the media. I kind of met up with them at the after party or whatever.
Mm.
And then the last one, because of the things that happened at work, I kind of went to the event, pre-event, the event, and even halfway through the day, I went back to my hotel because I just didn't have that kind of vibe and energy.
Oh,
So it's the boys do a great job. It's more me than it's definitely me than the event. But it's just that thing where I thought, well, actually, this normally comes naturally, just milling around and stuff. But I just couldn't get over the line. I don't know why.
yeah.
And I'll have a break from it, and then I'll go back. I love the event, the energy, and there's
Yeah.
a lot to learn on how to hold an event. They have all the fun elements. They have that loads
Yes.
of speakers, breakout rooms, the big keynote speakers. So yeah, it's a fantastic event, and I urge everybody else to go there. But I just wanted to share that thing where I don't know what it was. I can't put my finger on it. There's no blame
Yeah.
attached to anything, nothing to do with the organization, but it's just
Mm,
my thing. And I'm
yeah.
sure other people may feel the same when they come to a You and the Media Creator Day event,
Yeah.
possibly. And I would hate for somebody to feel that way. And that's why, we do try and reach out to anybody who's new, we try and,
Mm,
reach out towards just because,
mm.
I know what it feels like to be on that other side of the fence.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing that, Gordon, because actually, Andrew and Pete, founders of Atomicon, they hired me for their first conference, and I was
Mm,
their FOMO creator for 3 years, I think it was,
mm,
before they had someone in-house to deal with it, which is amazing. And they've just grown and blossomed, and they're
mm,
incredible. They really are. Now, I'm going to admit something to you now. The last 2 years, I haven't been able to go because of my mental health. I was struggling, and Andrew and Pete, they noticed that I wasn't there, and they asked if I
mm,
was okay, which is just
mm. Yeah,
incredible because these
yeah.
guys are so wonderful.
You're busy as
And
well.
I really wanted to go, but I knew that I couldn't go. I mean, the first, yeah, 2 years ago, I actually hired hired the hotel. Was really looking forward to it. Yeah, booked the hotel, booked the train tickets, and couldn't go. And sometimes you just have to give yourself grace, that
Mm,
it doesn't matter how prepared you are when you go to when you've booked a networking event in advance, something might happen and it might derail you and you can't go. So I wouldn't beat yourself up, Gordon. But as you know, there's lots of pre-parties and
Mm.
you went to a pre-party and met the incredible Chris Doe.
Yeah.
uh I go to pre-parties because the pre-parties tend to be smaller and more intimate, which is great. And that sort of gears you up for the big Atomicon, which is
Mm.
can be intimidating because there are, lots of people there. However, if
Mm.
you make arrangements to go there with someone, which I generally do, then it won't feel so lonely. And of course, there'll be lots of people because, lots of people who talk about Atomicon
Yeah.
in the lead up. So have a look on the socials and see if there's anyone that you can, tag on
Mm.
to. They're so successful. I remember it was about 2 years ago, actually. I went to another event I was creating FOMO for, and we were just having a break. And the lady said, I asked her if she was going to Atomicon. She said, no, I just see it everywhere, and they've just put me off. I thought, oh, okay.
Too
She
successful.
said all these people trying to sell tickets, trying to get their affiliate link in, and all this kind of stuff. And I thought,
Mm.
oh wow, gosh. And there's,
Can't
there's
win.
not a lot I could say to that. She was absolutely
Yeah.
determined that she wasn't going to go, and and it's not for everybody. But I love Andrew and Pete. I think they're amazing.
Yeah.
But I can understand that it can feel a bit
Mm.
intimidating because of the size and because networking is not organized at all. You have to do it yourself, which is fine, you
Yeah.
know. Um, but yeah, going to the fringe parties, the
Mm.
pre-party or the after party, or trying to make arrangements to go with
Yeah.
somebody is probably your best bet. And actually, Gordon, I was going to go this year. Well, no, I am going to go this year because I haven't been for the last couple of years. And I'm sorry, I'm going to miss you, Gordon, if you're going elsewhere. But I am sure we will bump into each other, maybe at You Are the Media or something like that.
Absolutely. I think, like I said, the event's great. It's just sometimes you need to give yourself permission just to duck out.
Yes,
Yeah. I think,
absolutely.
you have to do you. You have to go at your own pace. So totally support. It's a great event.
Yeah.
Never say anything else. Just for me, I just need. Yeah, I'm looking for something different now.
Yeah, yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. No, absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. Relationship building doesn't just happen at events. It happens on social media, it happens on email, it happens on WhatsApp and the DMs, on a phone call, an actual phone call. Well, it was
Yeah.
actually WhatsApp video with a lady a couple of days ago. And it was great because we felt like we knew each other because we'd followed each other on the socials, but actually talking to each other on video, which was amazing. And just getting to know each other's business. So, there's a
Mm.
lot of relationship building that's happening outside of networking events.
Mm.
The onus is up to you to make that first move,
Mm.
and people will definitely appreciate it if you have the capacity to approach someone and
Yeah.
say, oh, hey, would love a catch up with you. Maybe we can Zoom it, Google Meet, Teams, WhatsApp video, which is what I've been doing recently. Whatever manner of whatever method you can use. But
Mm.
yeah, relationship building is not exclusive
Yeah.
to events and conferences.
And it's not just kind of business events. There will be events around what you do, the technology you use, if it's a tech
Yes,
event or a marketing creative event. And there'll be people
yes.
just, discussing trends or, the kind of latest technology and
Mm,
frameworks or whatever. So some of
mm,
those events, which are more learning events, yeah, go along to those as your kind of introduction in kind of group settings and meeting different people that way, as opposed to if it's a business networking event, it does have that feeling of actually I need to know who does what. One thing I
yes.
would recommend if you're at a business networking event and if you only talk about what you do, then actually you'll just be known for what you do. But if you're there as a supportive person who knows other people and tries to join other people, then somebody else will say, actually, you need to speak to Gordon. He might not do what
Mm,
you need, but he will certainly know who to go to. Otherwise, if that person doesn't need Gordon's services, Gordon's name won't even come up. But if you're the helpful interconnector, then actually people will
Yes.
just say, speak to Gordon. You need to speak to Gordon. He knows,
Yeah. Yeah.
X, Y, and Z.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great tip there. Fantastic.
So I think it's a good point to stop our, well, hopefully more focused ramblings this time in terms of building relationships. And I think it's to summarize, it's do it at your own pace, go slowly, get more comfortable with it, reach out to others who are starting their own little journey if you're further down, and just give yourself permission to go to certain events, but also not to go to them as well. Just
Yes.
find your, that phrase, find your tribe, find the ones that work for you and give you energy. But occasionally you have to step outside and try something new. Hopefully I'm going to try something new this year as well.
Fabulous. Thanks, Gordon.
Thanks, MayKing. Bye.